Hello Crafty Llamas, welcome back to part 2 of the CocoKnits accessories video. I'll be going through the CocoKnits stitch markers and the colourful stitch stoppers in this video. So in the last video I showed you the needle gauge, tape measure, maker's keeper and the row counter. So if you are looking for reviews of those products or overviews, then just pop back to part 1 and you'll be able to see everything in there. So I'm going to start with the stitch markers. So they have got a variety of stitch markers. There is the set, which is the flight of the stitch markers, which I'll cover in a minute. And then there's these 3 smaller boxes that you can get as well. So let's start with the colourful stitch markers. So this is a pack of 60 individual stitch markers, which fit needles up to 9mm in size. So if we open this up, it comes in a handy little craft tube, so easy storage and also fully recyclable if you choose to keep them somewhere else. As you can see, they're immediately very eye-catching and bright. There is a total of 6 colours, I believe. So you've got kind of a lime green, kind of like a corally red, orange, blue, pink and yellow. So no matter what colour yarn you're using, these are going to be really, really obvious and bright. You're not going to lose them anywhere, and they really are just fabulous colours. So you get 10 of each colour. These are 9mm in size and yeah, will fit up to kind of your larger end of your needles. So really, really great no matter what project you're working on. They are available in a small size as well. I don't currently have those because they were out of stock, but they're exactly the same, just a little bit smaller. So like I said, this comes as a little box of 60 in there. Let's pop the lid on, there we go. So really handy for storage and perfect for your everyday crafting. Next we have the opening colour stitch markers. So these are like your knitted safety pins from Higher, the same design, just slightly different colours and come in a reusable craft tube. So once again, you get the same sort of 6 colours. You get your blue, pink, yellow, green, orange and red. Let's get one of the red ones out, shall we? There we go. And once again, you get 10 of each colour and they come in a handy little storage tube, as I've said. They don't have, like safety pins often have a little coil on, these ones don't, so it's not going to snag on your yarn because there's nowhere for it to snag. These are painted rather than nylon coated. So according to the website, this helps because it helps to reduce snagging. I'm not 100% sure why nylon causes snagging, but apparently it does. One thing they do say is that obviously with kind of excessive wear and tear through crafting, the paint may chip over time, but the colours will still be distinguishable. So these are really, really great. I use them a lot for marking, like if I'm knitting socks and things like that, marking the halfway point. I tend to do toe up, so it can be a bit difficult, especially working on kind of flexible DPNs and stuff, to figure out where the start of your round is. So I always find it really helpful to kind of mark that. And they can also be used for obviously a handful of other things, whether it's increases, decreases, changes in your stitch pattern. So stitch markers have got a whole bunch of uses. And these work with needles up to 8mm in size as well. So not quite as big as the colourful stitch markers, but still really, really handy. These can be used for both crochet and knitting as well, whereas these can only really be used for knitting or potentially Tunisian crochet. These can be used for everything and can also be popped onto individual stitches too. Next we kind of have the middle ground between the two of them, and this is the precious metal stitch marker. So this comes with the round ones in this size and the small size, as well as some of the opening stitch markers, but these come in copper, silver and bronze. So these, let me show you. So you get your big round ones, your opening ones, and then you get your little round ones, your little tiddlers there. And obviously they come in 3 different colours, so let's just swap out one of these for one of the other colours so I can show you what I mean. So you've got your copper one here. It's kind of like a rose gold copper, which is really, really nice. I, as you can tell from my jewellery, I'm a big fan of silver. Speaking of which, here we are, we've got our silver ones there, which you can see is much larger than the small size. And then you've got the opening stitch markers. Here we are in the gold, or the bronze as they call it. So you've got 3 different ones there. They look really, really nice, and I can imagine these being absolutely aesthetic heaven when it comes to working with like black yarns and stuff. This would look absolutely gorgeous. Obviously they're really, really handy. You've got 2 that are the closed ones, which can be used for Tunisian or Afghan crochet and predominantly knitting, and then you've got your opening ones, which I would recommend for any craft really, whether you're knitting or crocheting. I wouldn't recommend the round ones for standard crochet patterns, just because you're gonna have to cut your yarn to get them out. It's just not gonna make sense. Yeah, these are absolutely gorgeous. Once again, come in a nice little storage box. This one's slightly different. These ones are round, this one is square. I don't know why they changed it, but they have, and that's fine. And it also has a really handy little kind of magnetic closure, so you're not going to lose them. They're not just going to kind of like fall out or anything. Really handy. And these, you get a total of 54 markers. So you get 6 in each size and colour. So you get 6 small bronze ones, 6 small copper ones, and 6 small silver ones, and so on. Once again, really, really handy little storage case. A little bit smaller than the other 2 in size in terms of their storage case, but really, really great for no matter what project you're doing. So next we're going to go on to the flight of the stitch markers. So this is your full set of stitch markers. It comes once again in a handy little storage case, little magnetic opening clasp like so, and they each come in their own individual tubes. So let's get out the tubes. So you have 5 different kinds of stitch markers included in here, different shapes and sizes, and they are all the colourful ones. And it also tells you on the back of the box exactly what you get. So to start with, let's start over here. These are the split ring stitch markers. So as you can see, there are open rings. Let's get some out. There we go. Once again, comes in 6 different colours. So you get a nice light blue, a yellow, a green, an orange, a kind of corally pink, and a purple as well. There we are. So you get a variety of different colours. Bring those up like so. And like I said, these are like little individual split rings. So if I get my latest project out, here we go. So this is my Technicolor shopper that I'm working on at the moment that you might have seen on Instagram. If you haven't, follow me. And so what you can use these for is just whether you want to mark an individual stitch, for example, go back a few, you just slide it in like so, and it sits really securely on your project. So this is a great set for kind of knitters and crocheters. It has got a whole, quite a lot of closed ones, so I'd recommend this for someone who does a bit of both or is predominantly a knitter, to be honest. So this tube comes with 24 individual stitch markers. You get 4 of each 6 colours. So you'll have 4 pink, 4 yellow, 4 blue, 4 of the coral, and so on. And they all sit nicely in the little tube. Very handy for storage. So next, let's go on to the triangle ones. So once again, you get 24 in here, 4 of each 6 colours, like so. And these can be used with needles up to 5.5mm, quite small, triangular in shape. Once again, just great for differentiating, you know, the start and end of different stitch patterns and all the rest of it. The joy of having different shapes as well as colours is I'm currently working on a jumper at home where I think I needed 12 different stitch markers to mark the start and end of different sections of the jumper. And I think I only had 6 colours of stitch markers, so then I had to really rummage through and find anything that I could use as a stitch marker. And so things like this, whether it's a different shape, different colour, will come in so handy for projects like that, you know, I'm sold. Next we have the small circular ones. These are small coloured stitch markers. There's quite a lot of space in this tube because they're teeny tiny, like so. But once again, you get 24, 4 in each 6 colours. And these are very small, so these fit up to needles up to 4.5mm. So there we are. It's weird, it doesn't feel that, when you're knitting with 4.5mm, they don't feel that small, but when you see it in terms of stitch markers, it's tiny. But yeah, so these would be, once again, really handy for when you're like knitting socks and things like that, or you want something that's not going to be. So something I've found is, once again, if we go back to this jumper, is that these stitch markers I use tend to have quite a large ring on them. So because it's got quite a significantly large ring, it just makes it difficult. I find it kind of makes a stitch a little bit bigger. It pulls the kind of the yarn between the two stitches, which can make my stitch a little bit loose. So the joy of having something this small is that that's not going to happen. And I think I'm knitting my jumper on 325mm. So that really isn't going to happen if I had these, but I didn't at the time. So now I'm having to learn the hard way. Next we have the original sized, here we go, coloured stitch markers. So open that upside down. Once again, these are the circular ones, and these fit up to 9mm. So once again, you get 24 of them, 6 in each colour, 4 in each 6 colours. Really struggling today, not had enough coffee, clearly. Nice and round, and like I said, go up to 9mm, really, really fabulous. And because they are so bright, you really can just see them on no matter what yarn you're using. There's going to be a colour in here that's going to contrast nicely. And last but not least, we've got the jumbo stitch markers. These are just a little bit harder to show you just because they kind of get a little bit stuck in the tube. Once again, you get 4 of each 6 colours, and these fit needles up to 16mm, so almost my thumb. So these are really great for your kind of larger projects, your chunky, your jumbo yarns, your super chunky, and would work really well for that. Yeah. Once again, they're all really light, and whilst I say they're quite jumbo, what you can see is they're actually very narrow. They're not particularly chunky, they're only large in their needle size. So even if you were using these just to kind of make it extra clear, start, end of a pattern, I don't really think it would have the same problem as I've had at home with my jumper. But if you find otherwise, obviously do just let me know. So those are the jumbo ones. Like I said, they fit up to 16mm. So in total you have all 5 tubes. You've got 3 of the round ones. You've got your split stitch here. You've got your round ones, and then you've got your triangular. And they all come in this lovely little storage case like so. So you never have to struggle to find them again. What's also really nice is that they do come in their individual tubes, so if you needed just one tube for a project, you could easily just take that on the go, and it's not particularly big or chunky, and it would just do the job really easily, to be honest, so you don't have to carry the full case around at any one time, but also it just keeps them nice and safe together, like so. And the last thing I'm going to show you is, obviously we've gone through all of these, I'm just going to show you how they work with the Maker's Keeper magnetic bracelet. So I'm just going to grab that out for you. So this is the tangerine one. It also comes in duck egg blue. If you do want to have a look at these, then you can do so in my other CocoKnits video. This is a slap bracelet, so you just pop it on like that. It's really loose, not too tight, you know, it can fit up to any sort of size wrist. Like I said in my last one, I've got tiny wrists, and that goes around nearly twice. So your stitch markers, as long as they have a metal component, whether they're nylon coated or painted, it doesn't really matter. They just pop right on like that, like so, allowing you just to kind of keep everything really easily to hand, and it doesn't really get in the way. It's like wearing a watch when you're crafting, but without the tightness, to be honest, and it's really comfortable, not too heavy. At first I thought the magnet would be really, really heavy, but it's not actually. I found it quite light. And it just sits really nicely on the wrist and allows you to kind of quickly retrieve your stitch markers as and when you need them. So next up I have the CocoKnits colourful stitch stoppers that you can see here. I'm going to have to grab some needles because I didn't think ahead of time. So these are, don't rip, there we go. These are really cute little foam, kind of like, I mean they call them stitch stoppers, but they're kind of like point protectors. And that you just pop them on your needles to keep your points safe, or to keep your stitches safe on your needles. So I'm just going to grab a needle quickly. So here I have a Likey Grove in the 3.5mm. This is one of their bamboo range. Okay, let's just pop those out. And so what you can do is, I won't do it with that size, let's go for a green. What you can see is these fit perfectly on your needles like so. And not only do they would they keep your stitches safe on your needle, because they don't slide around very much. So actually, you know, it's quite a snug fit, which is nice. It also keeps your stitches safe. One thing that they also advertise these as is being able to turn your normal needle into a cable needle, which is just genius. So you can, I've now got 2 on here, different colours, but that's all right. So I've kind of got a green and a yellow there. They do come in, I believe it is 5 different sizes. Oh, there we go. So they've got the smallest, which are the pink. You then go up to orange, yellow, green, and the blue look about very similar size, and then you get your purple, like so. And you can literally just pop them either right on the tips of your needles with like the little foam bit still on. That's not going to help if I do it like that. Like so. Just to kind of keep the tip of your needle safe from harm. Or, like I just showed you, you can pop it all the way down to keep your stitches from slipping off. Something that I do love is just how colourful they are. They're so bright, they're so colourful, they're so fun. So this is made from EVA foam, so they're really easy, really soft. They're not particularly solid, which is always quite nice. They're quite squishy while still being somewhat firm. So that's it for this week's video. That was part 2 of the CocoKnits accessories video. If you've enjoyed it, then please let me know by commenting and liking below. We do have weekly videos, so please do subscribe to my channel. Our social media handle is Crafty Llama UK, so you can find us on various platforms using that. If you do buy any of these products, please do tag me in your unboxings and kind of in-action photos. I absolutely love to see how you're using the things that you buy from us. And of course, you can purchase all of the things shown in this video using the link below, which will link to the Crafty Llama website. That's it for this week's video, but I'll be back with you next week for another. Bye!